Hello friends, welcome to the platform of Darshanik. This is Akshay Kadam. So guys, today on this platform of Darshanik, we are going to discuss one important topic from the syllabus, that is civil service or administrative ethics part of the syllabus of ethics paper. So in civil service and administrative ethics, guys, we have one topic, conscience as a source of ethical guidance. Now guys, in our app classes, okay, we will be discussing in the lectures, okay, what we mean by conscience, okay, conscience or voice of conscience. Now conscience, guys, in general, when we discuss the concept of conscience, we called it sat sat viveka buddhi, the voice of moral conscience. Okay, in Indian language we call it a viveka buddhi or sat sat viveka buddhi, that inner voice that tells you or helps you doing this moral reasoning. Okay, so conscience is that prudent voice, the reasoned mind's voice, okay, ethical mind that it represents. So in our syllabus we have topic conscience as the source of ethical guidance. So in our app classes we will discuss what is conscience, okay, how it leads to crisis of conscience, how crisis of conscience manifests in administration in a different way, and how our conscience develops in general, and if we face crisis of conscience, how to deal with that crisis of conscience. This we will discuss, guys, in our app classes in detail. But guys, in this topic I am going to discuss with you one simple topic, okay, that is difference between terminologies like what is crisis of conscience and conscience crisis. And like that there are many terms, okay, and understanding them is very important for you to better understand many other ethical ethics paper or remaining ethics paper or ethical terminology. And few such terms are, guys, value crisis and crisis of values, okay, then moral crisis and crisis of morality. Same way there is a ethical crisis and crisis of ethics, or conscience crisis or crisis of conscience. So what is the difference between all these terms, guys? So first of all, guys, you need to understand that the major difference is there is a presence of off word. So value crisis, crisis of values. So whenever we have the word off, then remember off means O and good also have O. Okay, so if there is a word off, that is O is there, and good maybe there is O, that means it is something good to have. So if you have crisis of values, or any syllabus may, if they mention about the word crisis of values, crisis of morality, crisis of ethics, crisis of conscience, then remember it is something good to have. If it is there, it's good. Okay, means you, crisis of values means you have a well developed value system. Okay, only thing is that you don't understand out of two good values which is one more suitable to hold. Okay, or out of two bad values which is more bad, okay, that I should avoid. So you have value system developed, only thing is there is a crisis, different good values clash with each other. So crisis of value is something good to have. Same way, guys, a crisis of morality means you have well developed moral system, okay, you have moral reasoning inside you, but out of those all moral reasoning, you won't be able to deploy in that particular situation which moral decision to take, which moral reasoning is better, and you are unable to solve moral dilemmas. So you have all moral side personality well developed, you have underwent moral development, okay, but you unable to resolve the moral conflict because two moral arguments are equally solid, equally strong. Same way, guys, crisis of ethics. So crisis of ethics may, guys, you have very strong ethical personality. Okay, so you have developed, underwent ethical training, you have developed ethical competence. Okay, and now you understand all ethical theories. You understand Bentham's opinion, you understand Kant's opinion, you understand Buddhism's ideas, Jainism's idea, you understand Gandhi, you understand virtue ethics, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Buddha, Mahavira, you understand rights ethics, you understand constitutional limitation, you understand legal laws, rules, regulations. But now it is impossible or difficult for you, okay, in that particular situation, which thinker to apply, whether Kant is much appropriate or Bentham, whether I should take decision based on deontology or utilitarianism, okay, should I protect rights or should I act as per the laws and rules, okay, and whenever they contradict with each other, what gets produced is this crisis of ethics or crisis of conscience. So if there is an off word, it is good to have. But if there is no off word, that is these four conditions, guys, they are very, very problematic conditions to have. That is value crisis, moral crisis, ethical crisis, conscience crisis. Means it is something very bad, okay, to have. So means value crisis means, guys, that person has not developed the value system. He doesn't understand even difference between what are good values and bad values. Even he believes bad values to be the good. Okay, so these are the vicious people. They enjoy doing bad. They don't have any sense of morality, ethics develop in them. And this state or this mental situation is called as value crisis. Same way there is the term moral crisis. The morality has in that person is not developed at all. Okay, and so that's what we call moral crisis. Okay, same way there are terms like immoral, amoral and moral. So moral personality, if you have moral personality, only thing you don't understand what is much more moral, then that's a crisis of morality. So that's moral. Those people who have morality, okay, face crisis of morality. Those people who have conscience will face conscience crisis. Those people who have values will face value crisis. Amoral people means they haven't developed any sense of morality as such. For example, children's, okay, they don't have sense of morality, good or bad, what they will learn eventually. But when they are born, children's, they are amoral. Okay, yeah, on many issues. Okay, you might not have any opinion. Abortion is right or wrong, non-eating is good or bad. You don't have any opinion on that. You are a moral person. It is nothing bad to be immoral. Then same way there is a term called immoral. So when you say word immoral, they enjoy doing bad. They enjoy doing unethical, immoral things. Okay, they appreciate bad values. And that case condition is called moral crisis. So moral crisis, value crisis, ethical crisis, conscience crisis means ये निहत्ते कमीने लोग हैं. They enjoy doing bad. Okay, they are vicious people. Okay, and so understand this value crisis, moral crisis, ethical crisis, conscience crisis is something very bad to have. If there is an off word, that you face crisis of values, crisis of morality, crisis of ethics, crisis of conscience, this is something good to have. Okay, and that's actually a better thing to experience in life. Only those who have values will develop crisis of values. Only those who have ethics will face crisis of ethics. Who don't have ethics, they are in an ethical crisis itself. Those who don't have value, they are in a moral crisis stage itself. And so this is the basic idea, okay, of this concept. So let's discuss more technically. So value crisis, guys. So value crisis is a situation where society practices start to deviate from the values they hold dear. So value crisis, I told you, is a situation where people don't have any values. Okay, they won't consider bad values to be good. And so value crisis or society में there is a consistent degradation in the values. For example, Nazi party के पहले German looks wasn't having bad values, but Nazi people and their fascist ideology totally brainwashed people, and they did very inhuman things. Okay, so what Germany experienced under Nazi party rule is what we call the value crisis. So value crisis is a situation where society's practices start to deviate from the values they hold dear. So it can also refer to decline in shared values, ethics and morality of an individual or society. तो आपके society की, एक culture की, एक religion की या किसी individual की भी total value system start getting deteriorated. Okay, value system turns very bad, negative. So it refers to a decline in shared values, ethics or morality of an individual or a society, and that we call the value crisis, ethical crisis, moral crisis. Okay, so when there is a general acceptance of corrupt practices, when society or as an individual accept corrupt means to be good. अभी ये जो चल रहा है इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स में, okay, हर MLM पे हर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी कहीं पे भी ज्वाइन करे, नो आइडियोलॉजी एक्सेट्रा. ओके, एंड जो इलेक्ट्रल बॉन्ड स्कीम जैसी स्कीम चल रही है, ओके, इट इज अ टोटल लीगलाइजेशन ऑफ द करप्शन. सो ये करप्ट प्रैक्टिसेस और ये सारा एक्सपोज होने के बाद भी पीपल हैव नथिंग टू, नो पब्लिक आउटक्राइज देयर, पीपल आर एक्सेप्टिंग करप्शन एज अ नॉर्म. And so when bad unethical practices are accepted as a normal norm, okay, people develop tolerance towards such a values, okay, and there is general acceptance of corrupt values, unethical practices, immoral practices. Okay, even people who are doing unethical, immoral practices start getting respected in the society. ओके कि आप किसी बेटी की भी शादी कर रहे हो, देर इज वन ऑनेस्ट इथिकल गवर्नमेंट सिविल सर्वेंट ऑफिसर एंड वन वेरी करप्ट बिजनेस ऑफिसर और बिजनेस मन, एंड देन स्टिल okay, parents want the daughter to be married to that corrupt business person instead of honest ethical government administrator. Then guys, okay, this is the state where society is not respecting values, good values, okay, where corrupt means immoral practices, unethical people also get respected. Then such a state is called state of value crisis. So where there is a general acceptance of corrupt practices, unethical activities, then the society is in a state of value crisis. Okay, so it is state which creates new more normal acceptance for dishonesty, lie and immoral behavior. So it is state where that particular individual or a society as a whole, country as a whole, religion as a whole, okay, experiences a new normal of acceptance of dishonesty, lies and immoral behavior. Then that situation is called as value crisis. Okay, so I hope you are getting sense of what value crisis means. Okay, same way guys, value crisis is also leading to increasing respectability of selfish individualism. कि जो selfish लोग हैं, selfish individualism is promoted more. हर कोई सिर्फ अपने self interest की देखे. No one wants to worry about the other people. No one want to be empathetic, compassionate towards other people. Okay, no one wants to be empathetic, compassionate towards animals, nature, flora, fauna. They just want to exploit nature. Okay, use other human beings or even flora, fauna, animals, etc. for their greed. Okay, for their lust, greed, etc. And so that state, okay, where selfish individualism dominates is considered as a state of value crisis. Okay, so it takes the form of exclusive concern for personal gain. People are only concerned about their personal gain without any consideration for common good. No one thinks about the society at large. Okay, everyone only thinks. So it is in ethics. In consequentialist ethics, you have different theories like utilitarianism, ethical egoism, ethical altruism and ethical hedonism. This ethical egoism advocated by Hobbes and other thinkers, they said you can be selfish in morality, okay, but when you be selfish in morality and enjoy yourself, you are being ethically egoist. But to be ethically egoist guys, whatever you should do should not be at the cost of someone else. So as a Ratan Tata, you pay the taxes and use your money for the charity. Okay, fine, you are ethically altruist. But there is XYZ businessman who, okay, enjoys the money, XYZ, who pays the taxes but does not donate the money to charity, does not do the charity at all. Okay, but he pays the taxes honestly, then it is ethical egoism. That's good thing to do. But when you cheat people, okay, you do corruption, you cheat people, don't pay the taxes and enjoy selfishly, that is called selfish individualism, where your pleasures while enjoying your pleasures, okay, or while enjoying pleasures, people don't consider about the fallout for the society, what negative externality they are living on society environment. They don't bother about common good. And when people enjoy their pleasures, okay, they enjoy those pleasure not impartially, okay, but they enjoy the pleasure at the cost of others. So you can enjoy your pleasures, you can be ethically selfish, but your pleasure should not be at the cost of someone else. But when people forget that and start enjoying the world and their pleasures are at the cost of someone else, it is called ethical egoism. And so, it is called unethical egoism, selfish individualism, and that is the state of value crisis. So it takes the form of exclusive concern for personal gains without any consideration for common good, okay, and personal good comes at the cost to the other people. So someone's personal good is at the cost of someone else, okay, and this state is called what we call selfish individualism. Okay, then double standards, people respect double standards, they live hypocritical life. अब एक साइड से कोई नेता ऐसी इमेज प्रोजेक्ट करा कि बहुत ऑनेस्ट है, ओके, ना खाऊंगा ना खाने दूंगा, और इलेक्ट्रल बॉन्ड स्कीम में इतने सारे करप्ट कंपनीज को और जिन पे ईडी सीबीआई की रेड भी हुई उनसे चंदा ले रहे हो, ओके, उनको कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दे रहे हो. सो दिस इज काइंड ऑफ डबल स्टैंडर्ड्स इन द सोसाइटी. व्हेन दे गेट एक्सेप्टेड, सच अ पीपल गेट रिस्पेक्टेड, ओके, इट इज अ स्टेट वी कैन कंसिडर एज अ स्टेट ऑफ वैल्यू क्राइसिस, और व्हाट वी कॉल 7 social sins or 7 dangers to human virtues, okay, that Gandhi talked about, okay, in a concept of 7 social sins. So these 7 social sins that Gandhi talked about again represent state of value crisis, that is knowledge without character, wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, science without humanity, okay, religion without sacrifice, politics without principles, etc. So ये जो 7 social sins है, where people enjoy wealth without doing work or at the cost of others, they enjoy pleasures without conscience, Okay, they enjoy harming other people, and their pleasures are at the cost of someone else. Okay, then science is devoid of humanity. Science is extremely selfish and people use science to exploit other, fool other. ये OTP scammers and ये जो सारे लोग हैं, science without humanity. और हमारे app classes में we have discussed all these 7 values separately in detail while discussing Gandhian ethics में. So there I have given you lot of such examples. Knowledge without character. People like China who raped a maid. Okay, yeah, many cricketer who getting in gambling etc. Okay, yeah, many celebrities setting very bad standards for the society. तो ये जो stage है, knowledge without character is seen. या religion without sacrifice. Okay, where people in religion, okay, you only practice religion which is a ritualistic centered, not where you consider welfare of the society. Okay, you don't see God in every human being, flora, fauna, and everywhere that Vedanta says. That I told you in one lecture, okay, about Vedanta and ethics. Okay, you can check on my YouTube channel पे that lecture where Vedanta talks about Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Ayam Atma Brahma, Pragyanam Brahma. हर चीज में ब्रह्म को देखो, and then automatically you start treating everyone with compassion. So that idea what we call about. Where you be compassionate, but people stop being that and practice religion without sacrifice, practice religion only which is ritual centered. Okay, and that is these stages what Gandhi talked represent 7 social sins, dangers to human virtues, or if you say what Gandhi said, it produces, okay, these are the 7 roots of violence. It produces lot of violence in the society, and that's what they also represent the example of value crisis. Okay, so value crisis is also leading to increasing respectability of selfish individualism, okay, at the cost of other people. This point I explained you. So moral means pertaining to a custom, and crisis means conflict or trouble. So moral means something pertaining to some moral law, some moral tradition, custom, and crisis means conflict or trouble. So moral crisis means anything that conflicts with what you would ordinarily deem as correct. So moral crisis is thousands of years society has fixed some moral values, and now these moral values get questioned, these moral values get debated. Okay, and when that happens, guys, then this stage is also called as moral crisis, where age-old moral practices that people hold on to are no longer applicable, and bad values take precedence over these old moral principles, and that stage represent the stage of value crisis. And this example I told you, selfish individualism, double standards, 7 social sins or dangers to human virtues. Then nature exploitation, where we are not bothered about flora and fauna. People govern like we are the only species on this planet. So in my app classes, guys, essay classes में, I discuss lot of UPSC previous year topics, and also give list to my students, about the future topics that I think UPSC will ask. So I give list of 20-25 topics that I think UPSC, considering whatever debates going on in international in intelligence या international media platforms etc. वो सारे consider करके I think these are the very hot topics, very important debates, and in which one essay topic that I advise my students to prepare is we are not the only species on this planet. जिस तरह से आज हम govern कर रहे हैं, we are occupying all private land earth पे, leaving no space for dogs, cats, other cattle and other animals to go anywhere. और इस वजह से जो नेचर एक्सप्लॉइटेशन कर रहे हैं, वी आर एक्सप्लॉइटिंग नेचर, प्रोड्यूसिंग हार्मफुल केमिकल, रिलीजिंग इन वाटर बॉडीज, और ये सारे कुत्ते जानवर वहीं से पानी पी रहे हैं, एंड द वे इट इम्पैक्ट्स देयर इंटरनल बॉडी ऑर्गन्स, देयर biological system etc. So we are not bothered about a negative externality that we are living on environment. या हमने हाईवे बनाया, we drive on the roads as if we owe the highways, और कोई कुत्ता सड़क के गाड़ी के नीचे आके मर रहा है, and we are leaving all these collaterals. We are not bothered about all these collaterals, and when we govern in this manner, this is what we call a very harmful practice or a stage where society is experiencing this environmental value crisis. So in short, guys, value crisis, as I told you, is something very problematic and bad thing to have or bad thing to hold in the society. So now, guys, we'll be discussing crisis of values. So crisis of value is a situation in which it is very difficult to decide what is right value to hold amongst 2 right moral values or amongst 2 bad moral values. Okay, so you can't decide among two good moral values which one is better to uphold. Yeah, out of two bad values, which one to avoid? And in that situation, what gets produced is the crisis of values. Now I will give you a lot of examples, then you will understand this concept in detail. So crisis of value arise when intrinsic values or principle that we hold are challenged in some situation. So you hold some strong intrinsic moral values. For example, you think non-veg eating is bad, animal should have rights. But now you work in a private company where non-veg eating is allowed in a canteen, non-veg food is allowed. Okay, and so in such a situation, guys, okay, what you experience is this crisis of values, that long hold values get challenged, get threatened. Okay, now someone might be believing in joint family norms, okay, tremendously, but due to globalization and through cultural contacts, okay, this joint family system is breaking apart. And so then what to do, whether live in joint family or separately nuclear families? When people live or face this crisis, this is called as crisis of values. So this crisis of values, guys, is a very rampant and dominant thing. So crisis of value arise when intrinsic values or principles that we hold are challenged in some situation. So individual may find themselves torn between conflicting beliefs or principles, leading to feeling of confusion, doubt and moral ambiguity. So individuals are torn between the conflicting beliefs, two good beliefs. Okay, so whether I should follow this or I should follow that. So when individuals get torn apart between the conflicting moral beliefs or moral principle, leading to confusion, then they don't understand what is right thing to do. Okay, so for example, your like administrative example to give you crisis of conscience, you are posted in northeast Manipur mein, and now there is a situation where you believe that as a state we don't have right to defy anyone's fundamental right. You are very liberal and a follower of John Locke, but now considering violence, government has issued orders of shoot at sight and if necessary depriving people of their fundamental rights. And now you have to issue those orders on ground as a deputy collector, as a collector, okay, and to control the situation you have to kill some people. Okay, in that situation, guys, what to do? What you experience is a conflict of values, conflict of beliefs, principles, leading to confusion, doubt and leading to moral ambiguity and sometimes even guilt, moral guilt that it produces. And that situation is called as a crisis of values. Okay, and so where people experience moral dilemma, they have moral side developed, they experience moral dilemma, but they are unable to resolve the moral dilemma. And in that situation, what we experience is crisis of morality. Now, to explain you in detail, okay, how people or what can produce this crisis of values, how crisis of values people experience. So multiple factors play a role when people experience this crisis of values. First is societal changes, guys. Okay, society over time changes, societal values over time changes. So for example, आपके society may like Indian society, when it experienced a lot of changes when British came, and so when British came and introduced modern education, modern ideas about and they made societal changes, like they changed sati practice, allowed widow remarriage, etc. And whenever society experiences such a changes, guys, it creates a situation of the crisis of values. Okay, or for example, India is now rapidly changing, there is urbanization, okay, and due to urbanization and job nature, most of the people have to live in nuclear families, and this leading to, okay, breaking apart of family system or joint families, etc., or staying away from parents, etc., into the cities and so on. And this way, when society experiences changes, people can experience this crisis of values. Same way, there is a cultural shift, culture also changes. Okay, so culture, like when Occidental Western culture came in contact with the Indian cultures, okay, now we are celebrating new festivals like Valentine's Day, Rose Day, etc. Okay, people are less celebrating or following their own culture. Yeah, even our own clothing style, etc. Everything is changing with the time. We were adopting a lot of Western ways of living, Western culture, and so this situation where people get confused between old cultural values and new cultural values, okay, that can also create this crisis of values. Same with technological advancement. Okay, I told you the example of female in combat role बहुत सारे मेरे lectures में, that when technology got upgraded, and with the upgradation of technology, now you have a situation where there are a lot of females in a combat role, because female can fight. Technology has reduced role of muscle power from the warfare, and because technology has reduced role of muscle power from the warfare, female can fight. And because female can fight, okay, technologically now there is a they want to be appointed in a combat role in army, navy, air force, etc. So with technological advancement, guys, okay, largely then female are in combat role, and people then experience, जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में केसेस हुए, whether to allow female in combat role or not is a kind of crisis of values. Okay, same way guys, this modern administration या IT industry की जो jobs है female can do easily. Okay, they are intellectual jobs, not manual labor jobs. And so then whether to liberalize the laws and allow female in workforce, when society experiences that, okay, many cultures even still experiencing Middle East वगैरह के, whether to allow women in workforce or not, which jobs to allow female or not, etc. Okay, that what situation is called this crisis of values. Same way economic conditions. Okay, as per economic conditions change, people can experience crisis of values. Suppose one belong to a very rich family, and he used to donate lot of money to the charity, to the orphanages, to the animal welfare, etc. But now suddenly, okay, his father or his business went bankrupt, and now he doesn't have much money to donate to the charity, etc. Okay, very limited resources in which he have to feed his family or so on. Economic condition change. Now he might experience कि should he do charity or not, because doing charity is good thing, but also now due to economic constraint he has to look after the family. Okay, तो economic condition के साथ भी you can experience this crisis of values. Okay, as economic condition change, then political upheaval, because of some political upheaval, okay, also you can experience both value crisis and crisis of values. Now what Hitler did with Nazi party and with new political upheaval and ideology was very horrible thing, what we call it crisis of values. But what in India at the same time there was person called Gandhi who taught to the world through his political revolutions, movements, okay, how one should behave in a civilized democracy, satyagraha, okay, how one should engage in satyagraha, how one should live, how one should solve community, social, economic and political problems through peaceful means. He gave to the world new way of struggle, peaceful struggle, non-violent struggle in the form of satyagraha, new political tool to the world. Okay, and today our world is much more civilized, okay, because of this Gandhian technique. So वो जो political upheaval में, okay, what we experienced, okay, was also this crisis of values कि पहले जो revolution करके, violence करके कोई चीज करो, now we upgraded values. And now we most of the world democracy shifted to the modern values. Same way guys, personal experiences, you can change or update your values even with the personal experiences. Yeah, with personal experiences, okay, your two values might start clashing with each other. Okay, कि आपने किसी stranger को charity की but later on you got duped, so should I be doing charity or not, इस तरह से कुछ personal experience के साथ भी you can end up in a crisis of values. Okay, या आप government department में when you are doing, you went out of the way by the rules to help some poor person, etc. But then there was a disciplinary action against you, and because of that disciplinary action, okay, you have to face disciplinary action. So after bad personal experiences, next time while governing or while in administration, okay, you did not go out of the way to help someone, okay, by twisting or misusing discretionary power. So this kind of personal experiences can also create crisis of values. Then identity formation, as you grow guys, your values update and they can create crisis of values. Bachpan mein we don't have such a strong value system. In teenage years, adolescent years, we have different value system, and as we grow, okay, we go into early adulthood, mid age when we become, as with our identity formation, okay, we acquire a lot of new values. And so when we acquire more and more information, we read more, okay, and as we read and what do you call it, experiences that we get in socialization, enculturation, acculturation, through interaction with the role models, our value system keeps updating, and as it updates, we face a lot of this issue of crisis of values. Then आपका generational shift. Okay, so lot of our values guys change with the generation. आपके घर में you must have experienced the value clash. okay, between old people's values, new generation values. Now old generation values are not bad, okay, old generation के जो लोग हैं, they have their value system, okay, and their principles are correct as per their perspective, their time period, their context. हमारे जो principal values are correct as per our time, context, our perspective. And so with the generation also, guys, this values, okay, change, and this lead to generational shift and the crisis of values. Along with that, guys, value learning and value training. As like आप लबासना में you got selected through an exam. When you will undergo training, you will come to know about lot of different professional requirements. You will undergo extensive ethical training. या अभी भी ethics के paper के लिए when you are studying, you are learning about new ideas, great thinkers, great ideas, their ideologies. And as you study about those people, okay, your value system updates. And as your value system updates, you face this crisis of values between old moral principle that you were holding on to and new moral principles. Like you were holding on to as you came from some family, society, culture, community that you belong to, you held the value non-veg eating is bad. But now as a liberal person, okay, when you learn about fundamental rights ki theories, etc., what one person should eat and shouldn't eat, okay, should not be dictated by family, religion, etc., but should be dictated by individual. What I should put in my mouth is it's my intimate decision. And so what should I eat, what shouldn't eat? Food choices should be my personal liberty. So when you experience this, you read about John Locke, fundamental rights की theories में, okay, and your old culture के भी values है, जो family के values है, both are correct, okay, but in that situation, so your liberty to eat non-veg and family obligation not to eat, and you experience this crisis of values. And then I told you globalization, cultural contacts. Through globalization, different cultures are coming in contact. We have our Jallikattu like tradition. Okay, but then we have PETA like organization and talking about animal welfare, and so we had to eventually ban Jallikattu. So ये जो situations है, again crisis of values. Now we say animal differently, Western culture say animal differently. Both are correct in our context. Same way abortion के rights. Now American Supreme Court banned abortions, Indian Supreme Court allowed abortion. So who is correct, Indian or American Supreme Court? I have uploaded already one lecture on YouTube about abortion rights. So ये जो है abortion का, guys, which one is correct? So both are correct, and this is the condition of crisis of values. America is correct as per its own context, India is correct as per our context, and through globalization and more cultural context, values will keep updating, keep changing, and this crisis of value can also happen because of this globalization or cultural contacts. So these are few examples through which crisis of values society or people can experience. Okay, so societal change, cultural shift, technological advancement, economic condition, political upheaval, globalization or cultural contact, value learning or training, generational shift, identity formation, personal experiences. Now I will give you some examples of that you can write in answers. Okay, how that crisis of values get created. So guys, example of crisis of values, for example, religious crisis of values that I will discuss. Okay, and religious crisis of values is questioning long-held cultural tradition in the face of modernity. So as we get modernized, old religious values get questioned. Okay, so many Muslims in India, guys, today don't prefer eating non-veg also. Okay, because of the new animal rights or being vegan movement, etc. Okay, they don't want to eat non-veg, but as such in Islam or Christianity, eating non-veg is not a taboo or moral issue. And so when due to modernity ideas and old religious ideas come in conflict, okay, then what is gets created is this religious crisis of values. Same में अभी जो ईरान में हो रहा है हिजाब का controversy. Okay, women don't want to wear hijab as per their independence, fundamental right, and issue of women empowerment, but country wants to stick to the old religious laws. Okay, hijab ke, and this crisis again we called, okay, is a crisis, religious crisis of values. So non-veg eating versus vegan movement or Jallikattu versus animal rights ki movement, religious crisis of values. Same cultural crisis of values that I told you, joint family system is breaking apart, and we have the nuclear families. Okay, maybe out of compulsion or due to change family dynamics. Okay, most of the people has to work in Bangalore or other cities, Pune, Mumbai, etc. for jobs. They have to relocate and can't live with their families, parents, etc. And because of this, guys, okay, what we experience is cultural crisis of values. Joint family system or family structure in India is weakening, breaking apart. Nuclear family is getting created. Then technological crisis of values, that is female in combat role. Okay, so technological crisis of values, that is female in combat role, that idea I have explained. Then globalization of crisis of values, that is Oriental versus Occidental values. Now Oriental means guys regional values, Occidental means Canada. Okay, so Oriental versus Occidental values. So in globalization guys, okay, this conflict is very rapidly happening, and in our app classes in meta ethics we have discussed debate absolutism versus relativism, absolutist ethics versus relativist ethics, and there we have also discussed one question. I have also uploaded that on my YouTube channel. Relativism is the only practical philosophy in age of globalization. There I have discussed this point in extreme in a very well detail, in extreme detail, so do check that out. So this relativism is the only practical philosophy in age of globalization is because due to globalization different cultures are coming in desperate contacts with each other, their values are clashing, okay, and so both the values of both the cultures are correct, okay, and in such a situation what it creates is a crisis of values. Okay, then family crisis of values, like for example if you have studied psychology guys, okay, then you must be knowing about this well, and even if you haven't studied psychology you should keep this to write in your answer कि largely guys India में you know America Europe में there is no corporal punishment allowed by parents or by the teachers. You can't beat the kids in the school. India में okay we have banned corporal punishment for teachers can't beat the kids in the school. Parents at home guys, they can beat the kids as of now, but maybe 10-15 साल बाद okay Indian government will pass a law where corporal punishment will be banned even at the homes. Okay, अब इंडिया में जो आइडिया है, जो मराठी में एक इडियम है, छड़ी लागे छमछम विद्या ही गम गम, okay, कि जैसे आप बच्चों को जब तक मारते नहीं, if you don't do give a punishment they don't get disciplined. But modern psychology में guys this idea is totally rejected. Rather when you beat a kids, okay, it develops in them extreme violence instinct, anger instinct. Okay, they get tolerant to the pain, they get desensitized to the pain, but it can't but by beating kids, by punishment orientation you can't develop good values. तो एक psychologist का एक statement था, if you are beating your kid, ask why he is getting beaten. If he knows the reason, there is no point of beating, then explain him, and if he doesn't know the reason, there is no point of beating. सो इंडिया में जो पनिशमेंट स्टाइल से लोगों का बिहेवियर शेप करो, ये जो मेंटेलिटी आज तक चलती आ रही है हजारों सालों से, और जिसको व्हाट साइकोलॉजी कॉल्ड अथॉरिटेरियन पेरेंटिंग. While in psychology, modern research shows that authoritarian parenting is actually very bad to inculcate good values, behaviors. Rather, it increases violent mentality, tolerance to the pain, desensitization of pain. And in such a situation, guys, parenting styles like authoritarian parenting, democratic parenting, permissive parenting, they clash with each other. Democratic parenting is where you tell the kids, okay, what not to do, but don't tell what to do. They can do whatever they want. So this is democratic parenting. Democratic parenting is where you tell the kids, okay, both what to do and what not to do, and in a limited manner, and you do use more reward, not punishments. Permissive parenting, where you tell the kid what not to do. This is not allowed. You can't insult someone, you can't rob someone, you can't lie to someone, cheat someone. But what to do, full freedom. You decide on your own. This is called permissive parenting. And permissive democratic parenting are found to be much better to train or teach kids. So when old parenting styles, family ki, and new ideas clash, this is also we call crisis of values. Then economic crisis of values, like economic equality versus economic equity. ये भी है. Okay, you believe in economic equality, but before ensuring equality, I told you we need to ensure equity. If two people don't start at the same point, you can't expect them to compete at the same level. Okay, if people don't start at the same level, you can't expect them to compete at same level. And so, before ensuring equality, you need to ensure equity. And equality and equity is very important. Okay, so यहाँ पे both values are good. So in administration, which one to hold, equality or equity first? Okay, you face a crisis of values. Or in administration, when deontology or utilitarian, both values are correct, which one to apply? You face crisis of values. Whether to uphold fundamental rights or curtail them to implement social justice, you experience crisis of values. So how crisis of values or crisis of conscience manifest in public administration, I will be discussing separately on my app lecture. Okay, this where I am giving in general examples to discuss this topic open-ended. And then administrative crisis of values, where official secret versus transparency in governance. Okay, official secret mandate that some things we need to keep secret, but then transparency mandates that we should need to share this information with the public. For example, how Subhash Chandra Bose died. Now that time, had we disclosed Subhash Chandra Bose was killed by Russian intelligence or British MI5 American intelligence because he took side of Hitler, okay, then that would have impacted India's foreign relation in independent country with all those countries. So we kept it secret, official secret, but then at the same time, guys, transparency, okay, in governance, but you believe in transparency to sharing everything with the people, because basic definition of democracy is of the people, by the people, for the people. So democracy is for the people, then people should know. So this official secret when come clash with the transparency, this is one way of administrative crisis of values. Okay, so I have given you, okay, lot of examples of what is we mean by crisis of values, and I told you if it is off word, it's good thing. Crisis of values, crisis of conscience is something good to have. Okay, so the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at the times of challenges and controversy. Okay, so ultimate measure of man is not where he stands in moments of comfort. Okay, but when you face challenges, controversy, when you face moral dilemmas, okay, and when you face crisis of values, crisis of conscience, and after facing that, what decision you take, okay, that is the ultimate measure of a man, how he resolves the crisis of values, how he resolves the crisis of conscience. So guys, you should be very good now at reading such a quotes, because UPSC in section A asks entirely ethics paper mein quotes, and you need to interpret and write the entire essay on that. Same way they can use such a quote in your essay also. So here in essay you need to elaborate the quote at a very high level. So this is what this Martin Luther King's quote on crisis of conscience. And in my next app class I will discuss this crisis of conscience from syllabus perspective very much in detail. Okay, and there I will discuss few more quotes by Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. and also many other thinkers quotes. So that's all for now, guys. Thanks for listening and stay tuned. Okay, and check out other lectures on my Darshanik IAS YouTube channel. Also join me on UPSC Ethics 4 Telegram channel to download these notes. Okay, and on my Google Play App Store, guys, I have already launched my full course on essay and ethics, so you can take help of those courses. Okay, which will be one-stop solution. You don't have to study anything else for those essay, ethics, and later on I will be launching history classes. Okay, ancient, medieval, modern, world history, post-independent India, art, architecture, culture, comprehensive course on that. And other than those courses, guys, you don't have to study anything else. So do stay tuned for those classes, and thanks for listening.